Two, one. We are live. Hello and welcome to PropTechBuzz, a podcast channel where we talk to PropTech founders and CEOs from all over the world and learn from them how they build successful PropTech companies. Today, I am thrilled and learn from them how they build successful. I just realized I had a live YouTube, and that's why the issue was cool. No worries. So we have, as I said, I'm very excited today to have Pryank Agrawal, who is the CEO and founder of Housewise. He's an entrepreneur, and he also likes to mention that it is operationally profitable, and we'll try to understand what that means. And he calls it as a rental management company, Housewise.in. Priyank has held several leadership positions in large marquee names in IT and banking industry for almost a decade and a half. Having worked with Infosys, Mahindra Satyam, and Barclays, and having lived in various cities in India, US, and Middle East, he has always been fascinated with new cities. His love for real estate investments led him to buy property in various cities and across India, and his startup ideas were born out of his own personal needs of trying to find a rental management company. Priyank leverages his tech experience to create difference in life of his customers. Prior to becoming entrepreneur, he worked extensively in a bottom-up and top-down approach with various technology implementations. So, with that, let's welcome Priyank. Priyank, welcome to PropTechBuzz. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm very good, Ravi. Thank you so much for having me on your show. It's a pleasure.
Excellent, Priyank. Looking forward to this conversation. I know before Housewise and after your corporate career, you also started Brick Loans, right?
Yeah,
Maybe you could start with first of all, maybe you could start with your transition from your corporate career to
yeah,
entrepreneurship and your story behind Brick Loans.
sure, absolutely, Ravi. So I'll maybe take a step back and give a little bit more background about myself. I'm a IIT Roorkee pass out in chemical engineering, and then I worked in the IT industry for almost 17 years in various countries, various cities across the globe. So my last job was Barclays Technology Center in Pune, and I realized that there was a gap in the market uh, wherein the owner of the property is outside India or maybe inside but living away from the property, they were not able to manage. So that's a gap I found. And at the same time, I also kind of found this gap in the market wherein the loan transfers were not happening easily. So that was another idea. And I thought, both are good. And I kind of jumped into both of them together. So to answer your question, I started Brick Loans, which was a pure home loan transfer company.
What does
You could transfer.
what does loan transfer mean?
So basically, in India, home loan is a big industry. But what happens is that people, once they take home loans and they get busy with their lives, and even if the interest rate goes up and there are better opportunities in the market, they don't capitalize. And so my idea was create a company which helps them save money on their home loans by helping them transfer from one bank to the other.
Ah, nice. But it seems like it's a big problem, no?
It's a big problem. Yes, it's a big problem, big market and
Big
large
market.
market and everything. So I thought
Okay.
that was a brilliant idea,
All
and
right.
and and everybody around me thought it was a brilliant idea. I mean, so there was no issue at all with the idea and everything. So around the same time, Ravi, I also started Housewise, which was property management startup, and this was
Which
also.
year did you start Brick Loans? By the way, which year was it?
So both actually were kind of founded in 2017 when I left
Got it.
Barclays.
Got it.
But while I was at Barclays, I had kind of I was trying tinkering with the idea, building the product on the sidelines to understand if there was a product market fit at all. I mean, I thought these were great ideas, but that was my thinking. I had to validate. So I was trying to validate the ideas,
Got it.
and I thought both were good ideas. But I also realized that in brick loans, I did not have a moat, whereas in Housewise, I really had a moat.
Hmm.
There was, no other company doing this, and or rather, like large market, but hardly any player doing organized property management in India.
Mhm.
And therefore I decided that okay, and as one person founder, I could not handle two companies, like not like Elon Musk. So I decided to down the shutters on brick loans and continue only with Housewise.
And but how many years? How long did brick loans last?
Oh, in fact, like just when I left Barclays, by that time I had decided. So very short term.
Got it.
So by around say June, July 2017, I left Barclays, and around the same time I closed down Brick Loans and just
Got it.
continued with Housewise.
So, being
Yeah,
a single founder and leaving a plush job in Barclays, can you
yeah,
can you let me know, because the fire must be really big in your belly, no? Can you let me
yeah,
know about your emotional state when you
yeah,
decided to leave your safe job and jump into entrepreneurship? What was
yeah.
the feeling, and from your family, especially in Indian families, parents also have a big say in what you do.
Of course. Yeah.
So can you let me know your transition status of your life?
Oh, absolutely. That's a brilliant question, Ravi, because for anybody to leave a stable job, and I was pretty high up in the ladder in Barclays, and I had kind of a large portfolio that I was managing. So paycheck not coming at the end of the month is a big thing for anyone, and same was for me. But then, like you said, I did have fire in the belly. I thought there is a gap in the market. Uh, Also, I had validated the idea, Ravi. By the time I left, I realized that this idea had a leg of its own. So people, unrelated people outside my network had already started coming to the website and sending the inquiry. So I realized, there is real business, even though I will have to forego the salary for let's say 6 months, and then maybe take salary cut for a year or two. But the idea was good, and it required 100% of my time. So that was the time I left Barclays and forgot about the paycheck. And then so in fact, Ravi, to answer your question a little bit, I'm taking longer time to answer,
Sure.
but
Please take your own time. This is going to be a deep dive. I love deep conversations, so feel free.
right. So first thing was my family. So I talked to my wife Neha, and she I told her that you'll have to support me if I do this, and she had full support. I had her full support, and then I talked to my father, who is also a businessman, and because he has a business of his own, he knows the thrill of entrepreneurship, and he was fully supportive.
Nice.
I also had some savings of my own on the side, and I realized if I don't do it now, because obviously I had spent like 17 years. It was so my I had higher expenditures than say somebody a fresher would have, and therefore I kept some savings on the side. I decided, okay, yeah, if I don't do this now, it's going to only get tougher later, and I took the plunge.
Got it. Excellent. And then, so you were a single founder. What were your early days like? So how did you get maybe? So maybe you can explain what Housewise was. Maybe I think the format or the offerings of Housewife must have evolved and broadened over the years. But when you
Yeah.
began, what was the actual problem that you were solving?
Sure, absolutely. So Housewise is a end-to-end property management startup.
Mhm.
We manage properties for non-residents from over 28 countries, and we have operations in 11 different cities in India today.
Got it. And when you began,
So,
yeah.
so we began our journey in 2017.
Mhm.
At that time, so pretty much what I explained to you, like we started with end-to-end property management. But we started with only two cities at that time. That was Pune and Bangalore.
Mhm.
So Pune and Bangalore, because I live in Pune, and so we are headquartered in Pune, and then Bangalore because it's the IT capital, and that was the kind of target base.
Got it.
So Pune and Bangalore, and then once we were successful in Pune and Bangalore, we started Hyderabad. Then 2018 we started Chennai.
Hmm.
Then we started Delhi NCR. So
Mhm.
gradually we started. So we did not have a big bang opening.
Got
So
it.
we started with like a very small story, Ravi,
Mhm.
and slowly the story became big.
Got it.
So then we started operations in Delhi NCR, Mumbai. Last year we launched in Ahmedabad and Calcutta.
Got it.
And this year we have launched in Thane as well, and we are planning to launch very shortly in Goa.
Nice. I got to know that in one of your recent newspaper articles. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So at that time, so maybe for those who are listening to this for the first time and still not aware, what does end-to-end property management mean?
Sure. So basically, see what happens is non-resident Indians who are living outside India, they buy properties in India, but find it very hard to manage. And likewise, there are people who buy, say, property in Pune but living in Delhi, and they either kind of fall back on friends or family or network and ask for favors. But those favors don't last very long, because even friends and relatives have life of their own. They are also busy. So that's where we come in. So we are India's first tech first professional property management company, which provides comprehensive services, right from picking up the keys, tenant search, background check of the tenant, legal paperwork, periodic inspections, any repair maintenance of any kind, tenant move in, tenant move out. Like, we do everything, as if the house owner was living there and managing the property on his own.
Got it. And is this a big pain point from the house owner point of view? So you said your target audience, first of all, is an NRI audience, right? So this is the target market.
That's
It's not Indians who live in different cities.
well, I will say this, that anybody who is living away from the property,
Okay, got it.
so that's our target audience.
Mhm.
But for NRIs, the pain point is even bigger, because they are like, I mean, if you look at the distance, I mean, they're thousands of kilometers away, and therefore they feel the pain a little bit more.
Got it.
They are connected less with the city where the property is located.
Got it.
And therefore, so yes, it's a big pain point, Ravi.
Right.
Uh, in fact, initial days, I mean, just to let you know, the initial days, I used to do every function. So when I left Barclays and started Housewise, intentionally so, I ran every function in the company, like right from operations manager, operations associate, HR, finance, tech. I did everything. So part of the reason was because I wanted to be fiscally prudent, and also because I had no background in property management.
Right.
So I want to learn everything and then implement, so that when I hire, I know what's going on, and I can teach those processes.
Got it.
So customers used to tell me when I used to talk that, we are talking to you. We're so glad that if we had known about you 4 years back,
Hmm.
we would not have kept the property empty. We would have come to you.
I see.
So
And
so pain point was there, very
was there,
evident.
and we're talking about 2017. At that time,
Yeah,
I'm sure you were the early movers in this space, right? Because property management as a concept and to 2017, I don't
yeah.
think was existing, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Property management as a concept wasn't existing. There were like very few players in the market. The stage was just setting up for property management,
Got it.
and customers used to ask very difficult questions.
Hmm.
So they used to ask, like, what if your company, because it's a new thing you guys are doing, what if your company goes bust,
Right.
or what if you close down, or what if your employee does cheating?
Got it. Yeah.
So yes, it was. But I used to answer very. I think that was interesting time because I used to answer very openly and honestly
Right.
uh, about what's going to happen, what are the worst case scenarios and things like that.
Right.
And I think that also helped kind of bridge the trust gap,
Got it.
Ravi, between us and the customers.
Got it. So at that time, how did you validate the market? Like, would you randomly talk to NRIs and ask them their problems and stuff like that? How did you validate whether this is because you closed brick loans and then you went all into this? Did you get a strong? What was your validation process by then?
So see, I because I had lived outside India,
Hmm.
and I had worked in like large IT companies wherein I had a lot of friends and network who were either living outside India or had come back from outside India.
Got it.
So I used to talk to them and tell
Mm.
them that okay, yeah, this is what I want to do. What do you think?
Mm.
And so I got a positive feedback
Got
initially.
it. Hmm.
The only thing is, Ravi, with feedback, most of the times people give positive feedback in
Yes,
such cases.
because usually the feedback is yes, this is a pain point, but when you
Yeah.
say would you want to be solved at this price point, that is the
Yeah.
real feedback. Okay.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. You're so right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's the thing.
Yeah, at what
People
price
want
point they are
positive
willing to
feedback.
give away or to outsource this service.
Correct. Absolutely. So that's what I had to validate by actually kind of getting customers on board.
Got it.
And so the initial validation I did for almost 1 year, Ravi,
Mhm.
and with that, and that was like before I kind of 100% left the company. So I validated that for 1 year.
Mhm.
Slow validation I did.
Got it.
Uh, yeah,
So
but
what
once
was
start.
the business model like? What were you offering them at what price point? How did that contract go with your early customers?
So basically, see, model has almost remained the same, Ravi. What we do, what we charge today, and what we were charging at that time. So we do 1 year agreement with the house owners.
Mm.
That's like a service agreement,
Okay.
and we charge almost 10.5% of the rent for 1 year.
Okay. Mhm.
So 10.5% of the annual rent for 1 year of service.
Okay. So 10% is also a big chunk of rental income, no? So where
Yeah.
they all is that an appreciated? I mean, people are okay with that kind of a percentage to part away for this kind of a value,
See, people obviously ask like difficult questions, and they want to reduce that.
right?
But over time, like we have kept our ground in the sense we see. Look, my idea was, Ravi, from beginning till now, that I want to provide a service which is excellent.
Mm.
I have a tech product which demands employees who need to be paid well. I need talented employee pool,
Right.
and all of that has some cost. And if I have to provide an excellent platform, then I have to charge the customer. There is no other way I have.
Got it. Okay.
So I used to tell them to the customers,
Mhm.
and that is how we have charged from the beginning, and this is what we do today.
Got it. Okay. And so this is 1 year contract with them, managing their apartments for a year,
Yeah.
and then every month they this. So do you take the rentals from the tenants and then pass the rentals to them, or how was it?
See, in terms of the rentals, see, our model is that we want the rent to be transferred directly from the tenant to the owner, from
Ah,
tenant's bank to owner's bank account.
got it.
And that is intentional, Ravi, by the way. I mean, it was part of the strategy from the beginning.
Okay.
So what had happened was when we started,
Mhm.
many companies had started, and what they were trying to do is that they were trying to take the rental in their account and then transferring to the owners.
Mostly this
And
happens in the US as well. US primarily the property managers take the rental and then they pass
yeah,
that. Yeah.
correct, absolutely. So they were emulating that. The problem is, Ravi, that while US is like maybe a mature market, or Western countries are,
Mm,
India, there were a lot of stories. If one were to Google, where management companies took the money in their account and then did not transfer to the tenant, and tenant said, I've given the money. Owner says, I've not received it. So that was chaos. So we from the beginning had taken a conscious call. All the money goes directly from the tenant's account to owner's account.
got it. Okay. What other so you said everything from end to end, right? So anything
Yeah.
other than what about services, like anything breaks down in any repairs, upkeep of the apartment, is that also part of your job, or that is not?
Yeah. No, it is absolutely, it is, because like I said, we are like one stop shop. Like we do everything,
Got
as
it.
if the owner was living there. So owner doesn't have to worry about like anything at all.
Okay.
So any repair maintenance of any kind,
Hmm.
small or large, we do.
Right.
Uh, if there is like large interior work in the property required, we do that. So we have like very trustworthy partners who we utilize,
Got it.
and we proudly say that we do not charge any commission from our partners. uh,
Okay.
Again, intentionally so, because we do not want any conflict of interest. So we charge a supervision fees to the owners,
I
but
see.
nothing from the
So
vendors.
the 10.5% includes everything, other than that, any expenses that is incurred that is billed with the receipts.
That's correct, absolutely. So we provide proper invoice, GST invoice. We do not cut corners on the taxation or anything like that.
Nice. So that is very, very trustworthy then, huh? People will not have a feeling that you are also making commissions out of these repairs and stuff like that. Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
So initial days, how did you? I mean, how did you get your? I mean, I'm sure you remember your first customer ever. Maybe you can share your first customer and maybe the growth story over the years. But
Yeah.
how did you get your NRIs? Like, did you have your own network, or did you? What were the channels of customer acquisition?
So see, the initial channel was my personal network,
Hmm.
because in my network people were like living outside, so I reached out to some of them, and then subsequently kind of that story multiplied, because then they referred me to their network
Yeah.
outside India, or maybe in their apartment complex and things like that.
Right.
So that's how the whole kind of network kept building.
Right.
And then so that was those were like very initial days. Those were very initial days.
Got it.
But that was very important in those days, Ravi. I remember like every customer was important. Like
Hmm.
one customer when was each customer was important.
Right.
I mean, even today is obviously, but at that time it was far more.
Got it.
And
So,
then
yeah.
our website was like the customer acquisition channel primarily.
Okay. So mostly word of mouth and website and your own network.
That's correct. Yeah, yeah.
Got it. So you also mentioned about services like repairing and stuff like that. Did you have your own repairing, or did you partner with other service vendors who do this?
So yes, we have partnered with some very trustworthy vendors.
Got it.
We test them. We do a very strong background check. We test them on everything: quality, pricing,
Right.
delivery.
Right.
As you know, in India, it's not easy to get this work done.
Got it. Yeah.
Uh, so we do all of that, and then we empower them to deliver at the best price and with best quality.
Got it. In Indian apartment and societies, there are already maintenance fees that are charged now. So
Yeah.
is this something that the tenants pay, or is this something that the homeowners pay?
See, generally the contract that owner has with the tenant, it's like a rent. Okay,
Hmm.
so some owners say, okay, I will charge, let's say, 20,000 rupees as rent, and this is 5,000 maintenance. So you pay 20,000 to me and 5,000 to the society,
Okay.
or you pay 25,000 to me. So
Right.
you could kind of club and just take the owner takes,
Right.
but bottom line is the full amount is like the rent,
Got
we
it.
can say.
Okay. So, in spite of the maintenance fees, people are still paying to apartment management company, property management company, because
Yeah,
that maintenance fees of the society is does not take care of the internal maintenance. That is mostly for the outside maintenance. Is that how it is?
that's absolutely correct, because see, that maintenance is for, let's say, the swimming pool, the apartment complex, the gardens, and things like that.
Right. Got it. Okay.
So yeah, this is absolutely, this is like tenant management and the repair maintenance inside the apartment.
Anything that has changed over the years in property management, like have you seen started seeing, like, in your competitors offering newer and newer kinds of services as part of property management?
See, see, when we started, Ravi,
Mm,
at that time, I think almost like a lot of companies had started actually,
right.
and every time a company started, and these were like good founders and good investors and good background.
Hmm.
But I think over time I've seen that kind of many of them have kind of either shut shop or kind of start doing something else.
Mm.
So right now I would say, I mean, there are like handful of companies working on this, or very, like, you can count them on fingers maybe.
Is it why
Yeah,
is it a very difficult industry to crack or something, or?
I think so. I think so, because it is not just technology. Technology is an enabler. So you need a strong technology, but then you also need to have very strong operational excellence.
Okay.
So I think it is that. So it requires like a lot of persistence.
Mm.
And I've also talked to founders of companies who have exited successfully. I mean, they sold to other company and exited. So even they told the same, that look, I don't want to do this again.
Mm. So let's talk about these topics. So first is the tech stack. So what is the role of tech in your business?
See, tech is very important because, see, right from every function in our company is tech enabled. Like, so right from customer onboarding, tenant onboarding, operations, everything is driven by the product that we have built in house.
Oh, you have built your own, okay, tech stack, because there are also
Complete.
providers who sell products applications for property managers, but you are saying
Yes,
that
yes.
it's your in-house product.
Ours is in house because we realized that we saw their product, in fact, but
Mm.
we realized that that would never fit our requirement, because ours was
Mm.
very specific to India. It
Got it.
is very different. See, Ravi, the property management that you would see in Germany,
Mm.
in the Western world, or in the US, that is very different from what we are doing in India.
Right.
So we are like end to end. It's not that, okay, tenant collection, the rent collection is just one problem. No, it's like everything. Right from the day we take the keys, we have to ensure that there is a report which says, okay, we have collected the key, we
Right.
have collected the property in this thing, and
Got
then
it.
we have started the tenant search.
Got it.
uh, we have done the background check.
Got it.
Even background check in India, Ravi, is very different from what would happen outside India. We
Mm.
have to do. It's not just technology. So all of those pieces we had to build in our product. We could not kind of just buy it from outside.
Got it. Yeah, yeah, I asked you about any new kinds of services. So you are saying there are a handful of people today. It's not about new services. It's about offering the core services by doing it right, and
Yes.
doing it with operational excellence. Otherwise, it's very hard industry to crack. So
Yeah,
let's talk.
yeah.
So tech, you answered. So it's about having apps, right? So you give a tenant app and you have a homeowner app. Is that how it is, or it is a web application?
It's a web application actually.
Got it. Okay.
And there are separate web apps for the owner and the tenant, and
Got
they
it.
talk to each other very well. And both of them talk to our operations team, uh, and both of them also talk to our sales team. So our sales team also uses the same app, Ravi,
Got it. Okay.
because when the customer, a new owner is onboarded,
Uh-huh.
at that time, the owner information is captured by our system, and sales team talks to the customers using the same information.
Got it. Okay. Um, and is there any interaction from the tenant to your operations team? Like if the tenant needs something and if something is broken, everything happens through the app, or it also happens through phone and outside the app channel.
Yeah, so yes, operations team absolutely talks to the tenants, and so they talk to through our app,
Mhm.
as well as the other channels of phone and emails.
Got it. So there are other players who have also entered the market, very big ones, very highly funded, like Apna Complex, and you must have heard, right?
Yeah,
um, Apartment management services. Okay, I think Apna
yeah,
Complex was acquired by Nestaway, I think. So there are these big players, and they say that okay, we do all kinds of apartment ticketing kind of a service. Okay, so anything anywhere breaks down, the tickets are formed on this app, and then
yeah,
you trigger the ticket and you offer them service immediately. Is
yeah.
there a conflict between what you offer and what some of these major players who are entering into societies offer, or is there a conflict, or you
No,
clearly
absolutely
have
not.
your value proposition is clear?
No, our value proposition is very clear, Ravi. We are solving a very hard problem. It's
Mm,
not at all trivial. So there is so there are few apartment management companies now. Again,
right.
I will say few, not many, but few
Yeah.
big ones. And in terms of the property management work that we are doing, we are like maybe handful or maybe less than handful,
Mhm.
and we do our own work and complementing the gate management work that the gate companies are doing. In
Got it.
fact, to give you an example, like we are listed on MyGate and Apartment Adda both. So we have very strong partnership with both of them.
Sorry, what are the names you mentioned? My Gate. Okay,
MyGate
My Gate. Yeah.
and Apartment Adda.
Apartment Adda. Okay, are these the two big players, or?
These are two large players. Yes,
Got
yes.
it.
So they don't do property management
Got
like
it.
we do. So
Okay,
we have partnered with them. These are the largest names in India right now
I see.
uh,
Okay,
in gate management, and we are very glad that we have partnered with them.
got it. So when you partner with them, they provide you leads. Is that how it is, or?
We are listed on their platforms.
Okay. So it's like they have a marketplace for all vendors and services. Is that how it is?
Correct, correct. Yeah, they have marketplace,
Okay.
and
So if somebody is looking for property management, your name would pop up in that search.
yeah, that's correct, Ravi. That's correct. So
Okay.
so they but again, you know what? Because they also have a name to say a reputation of themselves.
Hmm.
They did a lot of validation before they onboarded us.
Got it. Yeah, they have to have top class vendors listed. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
what are the what are the other challenges, as you mentioned, operational excellence and only handful of players? What is the biggest challenge? Is it about maybe operations in every industry is different, right? What does
yeah.
operational excellence in this industry mean? What needs to work really well to do well in this industry?
Um, so I would say this. See see the processes, the tech as well as the process in
Hmm.
this industry wasn't did not exist,
Hmm.
and therefore we had to define it in the beginning,
Right.
and then continuously evolve.
Mhm.
So what so what we have done, Ravi, I'll tell you what we have done is that we defined, we documented, we created tech around it.
Right.
But every time our customer base grew, our operations grew, we realized that okay, today we have made a mistake.
Hmm.
So we always analyze, okay, this mistake has happened. Why did it happen?
Hmm.
Was it just a human error?
Right.
Uh, what we should do to ensure that it doesn't get repeated again,
Got it.
and then we tinker the process or the technology or everything around it.
Or
And
the
I think,
workflow. Hmm.
yeah, so workflow is extremely important
Hmm.
in property management. But
Got
so
it.
we do not ignore any mistake. I mean, we just don't say okay, ho gaya, it's okay.
Hmm.
No. So I mean, fine, one is like why it happened, and then in future will it happen again?
Right.
If the answer is yes, then we have to like immediately decide what to do, and then the whole team actually discusses what
Got
can we do so that it doesn't happen again in future.
Got it. Okay. The reason I was asking you how this industry has evolved and what new services are being offered is because I read
Yeah.
your recent article where you're offering credit cards to parents. So
Yeah.
this is your newest offering? Could you let us know what problem you're solving here?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So in fact, this also ties up with your previous question. I mean, in terms of what we were doing earlier and what we are doing now.
Right.
So so when we started, Ravi, it was only the end-to-end property management as a product that we
Right.
offered, and then we scaled it like horizontally in various cities. In 2020, we launched, like just when COVID hit, Ravi, we started a product called Digital Rent Agreement, and maybe I'll just come to that in a bit, but I'll answer your first question first about the rent payment by credit card. So we have recently launched this product called rent payment by credit card, which means that any tenant can pay rent to the house owner or deposit to the house owner by way of credit card. And why would he want to do that? So we have realized that a lot of tenants actually come to large cities from let's say college, or maybe they're shifting cities and they have resource crunch, and that's when our like if they have a credit card, they can get like 40-day 45-day free credit, and to avail that they can use our platform to pay rent or deposit by credit card. I think I lost you, Ravi.
Yes, you lost me for a while. Uh, yes, we are back.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, you lost me just while you were starting. I was
Okay.
asking about the credit cards.
Correct. So I was saying, Ravi, that see we so basically we have realized that a lot of tenants actually come from either like colleges into this big cities, IT
Mhm.
centers, or a lot of people shift from one city to other, and when they do that, they have like a lot of resource crunch.
Hmm.
So to pay the initial deposit or the rent, sometimes they have kind of resource issues. They need credit,
Hmm.
and therefore to ease that problem, we offer something called rent payment or deposit payment by credit card.
I see.
People can pay their rent deposit by credit card and avail of this 2 month or 45-day credit,
Hmm.
by which time they would have streamlined their initial issue that they might have in terms of payment of rent or deposit.
Got it.
And we
And the,
charge like one time transaction fee, a small fee. So
Mhm.
it like doesn't pinch. I mean, for a very small fee, they get like decent credit for a decent amount of time.
No, but they pay credit from their own credit card, right?
Their own credit card, yes, they have to.
Okay, and it is like purchasing any other product with their credit card.
Absolutely. See, the only difference is, Ravi. See, a house owner doesn't carry a credit card machine, so
That's
he
correct.
can't accept like the rent or deposit by credit card.
I see. So they have the tenant has the means to pay, but the house
Yeah,
owner cannot accept credit card. So you
Yes,
become a merchant for on their behalf,
correct.
and you so
Facilitate that. Yeah.
okay, so you are the facilitator. So you, in this case, you are taking the money from the tenant and then passing the money to the homeowner.
That's correct. Yes, that's correct. Yes.
Got it. Got it. For the NRIs, what is important for managed apartments? So, is this, are they asking for better rental yields, or are they asking for peace of mind that, hey, you know what, I'm living in the abroad. All I want is my apartment to be taken care of, and that's it. Okay. What are the biggest pain point? Is it rental yields?
Yeah.
Like, do you also promise them that, okay, we are going to give you the best market rates of your apartments? Is that how it is?
Well, as a customer, see, we are Indians. We want everything, right? So, so customers, yes, want peace of mind. They want the best rent. But yeah, in all seriousness, Ravi, what we offer, number one, we tell the customers that number one is peace of mind.
Hmm.
We want to secure your property. That is our number one objective.
Hmm.
And number two objective is to get you the highest possible rent. That's the
Okay,
number two objective.
got it.
So we tell them clearly.
Hmm.
And in both the cases, our interests are aligned with the owners. So
Hmm.
they get high rent, we get
Right,
higher fees.
got it.
Our interests are aligned. But we tell them that look, we want to find a tenant who is a good tenant, who has decent reputation, who will keep your property okay,
Right,
and who will live peacefully and let you live peacefully.
got
That's
it.
our objective as well.
Got it. Do you also promise high occupancy in terms of if a tenant leaves? Do you promise to replace the tenant in a certain duration, or how is it?
See, we while we do not guarantee the occupancy,
Right.
Ravi, our objective is to obviously keep the property occupied as much as possible for as, but we also guarantee that the the house owner pays the fees only once, like this 10.5% that I said.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter how many times the tenant leaves, we do not charge again. I
Oh,
mean,
you
that's
do
the
not.
maximum.
Okay, you do not charge
Yeah.
like any real estate agent would charge for getting a new tenant.
No, absolutely not. So this is the maximum fees that the house owner
Oh,
pays.
that's nice, because other property management companies, they charge for acquiring a new tenant. Um,
Yes. So no, we don't. In fact, I also want to say this, Ravi, that if the tenant remains same, so our contract in general, Ravi, people once they come, they never leave. The house owners never leave. So they keep renewing their contract year after year. So if the
Nice.
Yeah. So if the same tenant stays for, let's say second year or more,
Mhm.
we reduce our fees from say 10.5% to approximately like 4% for 1 year, because we do not have to find a new tenant at all for the next year.
Oh, if the tenant stays, or if the homeowner renews your contract.
So when the homeowner, so suppose the house owners 1 year contract finishes
Yes,
and they want to renew their contract,
right.
but the tenant is the same, we do not have to find the tenant.
Got it.
So then we will reduce our fees from that 10.5% to approximately 4%.
Wow. And why would you do that?
Oh no, we are kind of clear with the owners that we do not have to put in effort to find a tenant. So
Yeah,
so
but the tenant
that's what.
might leave middle of the year, no? But you might have to do the hard work again.
Oh yeah, so then if the tenant were to leave,
Uh-huh.
then it resets to 10.5%. Then it
Okay.
resets. Otherwise not.
Okay, because you would anyways put your effort to get a new tenant and stuff like that, right? So
Correct.
okay,
But 10.5 is like the max any owner has to pay.
that's I think very attractive. I think that is your. You also mentioned that this industry has a moat that earlier your brick loans did not have a moat. What is the
Yeah.
moat here, by the way?
So what happens is our USP is trust.
Mm-hmm.
And once we have built trust, Ravi, then that is a moat, because people give keys to the property, like that's like the biggest uh,
Hmm.
thing that they would have purchased in life.
Exactly. Hmm.
So that I think is difficult to build, and that is a moat I think we have.
Hmm.
In
Got it.
fact, I'll tell you, funnily, many times customers say, "Okay, can you help us? Our passport is going to come. Can you send somebody?" And so we say that, okay, that's not our job, but sometimes we do it
Do it.
because they can't trust anybody else. They say,
Hmm.
"Parents, my parents are going to come to the city. Can
Hmm.
you send somebody to the airport and help, please?"
Yeah, that is going above and beyond what your job is, and that is
Yeah,
how trust is built. I
yeah.
get that. Excellent, cool. The article that I just read, I think it was published last month, I suppose, right? That you are launching in Thane and Goa. So
That's correct. Yeah.
I was reading through that article in preparation to this interview, and I was wondering, what does launching in a new place like Thane and Goa mean? Is it, I mean, what has location got to do? Like, do you go and start looking out for NRIs from that city? Is that what launching means? Otherwise your product is the same.
Yeah.
What does launching mean? Do you open an office or an operations office there, or what does, could you explain what does it mean?
Sure, sure. So basically, I think you got it right. Our product is really the same.
Right.
So in terms of tech, there is nothing much that we have to do except adding new cities.
Hmm.
But what happens is we have to hire employees in for that location.
Hmm.
So as to, because somebody has to physically pick up the keys, show the property to tenant, search for the tenant, do a background check, do a tenant move-in report. So we have to hire employees locally in that particular city.
Hmm.
We have to hire vendors for that particular city. So that's the part of the launch that we have. We have to have a local office in that city, things like that.
But also, to make sense economically, you should have a certain minimum number of customers or number of properties managed in a certain city to make it successful, isn't it?
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. So absolutely. So our that's where our operational excellence thing comes, Ravi.
Got it.
That yeah, since the beginning we have been operationally profitable, and and every time we do launch in a city, we do it in a very calibrated manner. I mean, that's why you
Mhm.
see, like, let's say 5 years or 6 years, we have launched in, let's say, 11 cities. We have not gone like big bang approach or anything.
Mhm.
There is a
I, I
method
I
to
I
madness.
admire companies like that. I really appreciate and admire companies like that, because they are the ones who always stand the test of time, no matter what the industry, what the environment is. They always are. So, have you been profitable from the day one? Like, operationally, are you scaling without compromising on profitability? Is that how it is?
Yes, yes, we are. So yeah, initially from day one, my mantra was that we have to be operationally profitable and financially profitable, in fact. And now that we are scaling high, I want to, like, operationally on every transaction, I want to be profitable. But financially also, Ravi, I want to be profitable.
What is the difference between operationally profitable and financially profitable? I thought profitable is financially profitable, isn't it?
So what that means is, Ravi, that see, when we do a transaction,
Hmm.
on every transaction, there are many companies which lose money. So they say we acquire customer, but so we sell something for, say, 100 rupees,
Hmm.
but maybe we spend 101 rupees on marketing.
Hmm.
Okay, so we lost money on that transaction.
Right.
Somebody else would say, okay, I sold something for 100 rupees, but I spent only 90, so I'm operationally profitable. I made 10 rupees profit.
Hmm.
The problem is that beyond this 10 rupee on that transaction, Ravi, you have to make investments in technology, in
Right.
offices, in
Right.
infrastructure, and things like that.
Got it.
So many companies have a long runway for financial profitability.
Got it.
Uh, so
Yes,
financial profitability in startup world is like,
five
I
seven
think
years.
I think yeah, it's difficult, huh? I mean, it's a long runway.
Yeah,
In our case, so I have been kind of very careful in even having financial profitability from initial days.
got it. And so that means, is this a bootstrap company overall, or have you raised money along the journey?
We bootstrapped in the beginning, but
Mhm.
20 April 2020, just when COVID had started, we raised capital from few angels for strengthening our balance sheet.
What does it mean, strengthening your balance sheet?
So basically, see, we were growing quickly and we were expanding into new cities,
Hmm.
hiring employees, investing in technology.
Right.
So while we were profitable, Ravi, but we needed capital
Oh,
to
growth.
be there for any eventuality and growth and marketing and things like that.
Got it.
So that's why we had raised capital at that time.
Got it.
Uh, we had to hire better people and more senior people at that time, Ravi.
Got it. So today, how many units are you managing?
So in terms of numbers, see, we manage over 4,300 properties.
Hmm.
So that is one metric in terms of the property management. Plus, we have this second product that I talked about, that is digital rent agreement, which means that, like in India, you would have seen that people do agreements like physically, like take the stamp paper,
Hmm.
print, sign the agreement. We do it digitally,
Right.
everything digital, like e-stamp,
Hmm.
uh, signature, digital signature, delivery
Right.
by email,
Hmm.
and so that is another set of customers that we have, which again is growing month on month basis, almost 10% per month kind of a growth
Hmm.
that we do. And
Okay.
the third product, like we is rent payment by credit card. That's a metric that we are not capturing as yet, but hopefully we'll see reasonably good numbers there.
Got it. So, as a CEO, when you are managing this business, what are your key metrics? Is it how many units we are managing? Obviously, because that is how the growth is. But is there any other metric, like you mentioned that trust, right? So, like,
Yeah.
do you measure like the net promoter score or something of that sort, or occupancy rate or something of that sort? Are there any other metrics, or it is fairly simple, number of units managed?
See, Ravi, I think number of units is one metric, but more importantly, I personally measure the revenue
Hmm.
as
Revenue
a
per
as a
unit. Revenue per
uh,
unit.
revenue of the company. I mean, the whole
Okay.
company,
Overall. Okay. Hmm.
overall revenue of the company as a metric.
Right.
And the second is the attrition of customers. So if the number of properties we add every month
Hmm.
and the attrition is, let's say, less than 5%,
Hmm.
so that's like a acceptable number that we think.
Okay. Okay.
And
I'm okay. Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
no, so I was just saying, so we have a very like minuscule attrition of customers. So once customer onboards, they kind of continue year after year. They just renew their contracts year after year.
And I assume this is because of peace of mind. Okay. Because I
Peace of
know, because I was talking to a friend, he had signed up for a property manager, uh, and then he said that, what is the value add? My tenant never changed in the entire year, and I kept paying him 10%, and he stopped that service. So my question to you is, it's the peace of mind, right? They would be okay,
yeah.
because otherwise they have to worry, even if for once the tenant changes.
No, I think look at it, Ravi. I think that's a great question you have
Mm.
asked. Um, some customers have asked, and my answer is like this, Ravi. What is the benefit of buying a term insurance? Suppose you live up to 80 years,
Mm.
and then somebody kind of passes away, then he would think, why did I pay the premium for these many years?
Mm. Got it.
So when in property management things go wrong, then
Mm,
people realize, oh man, and then they are very anxious,
mm.
because then they say, oh boss, can you do this quickly? There is a fight between the tenant and the neighbor. You know.
Okay, so do you resolve such issues as well,
Oh, absolutely. We do everything. We have
including
seen.
legal issues like eviction if a tenant is not able to pay rent?
Yes, yes. We do like everything.
Okay.
In fact, in terms of eviction, our policy is that prevention is better than cure.
Uh-huh.
So always we do like massive checks before the tenant is onboarded.
I see. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and
This
and
very
but in the worst case scenario, if we have to evict, we do that.
Mhm.
But any other issue, I mean, there is a fight. We have seen crazy issues where if there was a fight among the tenants, inside the apartment, they came to us. They've come to us for resolving the issue. So we have seen crazy issues in our
Hmm.
experience.
Sometimes, mostly in Indian apartments, there is a leakage, and the tenant on the top or the homeowner on the top will complain that there is a leakage from your apartment and stuff like that. This
Yeah,
kind of issues also you have to take care. Any kind of repair and stuff like that, isn't it?
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we have seen that, and Ravi, we have seen worst.
But
Where,
tell me, give me the craziest problem that you have solved in your experience.
uh, you know, so I mean, while there are many, but once what happened was, I got called from would-be father-in-law. These were initial days. Would-be father-in-law of a tenant
Okay.
that that she had a fight with her roommates, and
Uh-huh.
can you help resolve? You know?
Okay. Okay.
And that was tough. How do I resolve that? So
Mm.
so so yeah, that, and then we had a problem where the society said, we will not allow the tenants to walk on the grass.
Okay.
So owners can walk, but the tenants can't. So
Ah,
that was a dispute that we had to resolve. So
got it.
uh, yeah, so some very crazy things, Ravi, we have seen
Got it.
in this.
There is in the West. There is also, especially here in Germany, the homeowners don't talk to the tenants. It's always through
Yeah,
the intermediate. Okay, they have
yeah,
got no relation. It's the broker who does everything.
yeah.
Is that how it is, or in India still the homeowner, in spite of you being the intermediary, they still talk and they communicate with each other?
See, in our case, what we do is we introduce the owner and the tenant.
Hmm.
But generally, the owners prefer that they don't talk to the tenants. We talk to the tenants. That's
Got
that's the preference of most owners.
Otherwise, where is the peace of mind?
Exactly, exactly.
You do
Yeah,
not want any new relations coming into the picture and stuff like that. Okay, got it.
exactly, exactly.
There is also a culture of insurance here, where the tenants need to take some kind of a liability insurance in case something major breaks or some damage happens. This is
Yeah,
to secure the homeowner in case of any major damage. How is the culture of insurance in India now? Still
I
catching
think
up?
it is yet to mature, Ravi.
Got it.
At the moment, I don't see like that. Renters insurance is not that popular yet.
Got it. Okay.
There is-
Then help us understand the maturity. You have seen this. We have been in the thick of things in the past 5 years, 7 years, maybe. What is the scene of property management? How big is this market? Do you see? You said that there are only handful of them who have been able to crack this. But how big
Yeah.
is this market? Is this market still a lot of untapped potential there? What is the investor interest in this? Is there a lot of margins to be made here? Like, do are investors really looking into this? Are there lots of competitors trying to get into this? Maybe you can give a little bit of the industry picture for this sector, property management, because I know for sure that property management is still nascent in India in comparison to, say, US, which has been for the last 20 years now.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, Ravi, that's absolutely true. So the market is so huge. And just to give you an idea, there are 3 crore NRIs living outside India.
Mhm.
And NRIs or resident Indians, everybody has a love of buying property in India.
Mhm.
So we assume that even if there are like half of this population having properties inside India, and and like everybody has either one or more properties, there are like at least 3 crore properties to be managed only for NRIs.
Mhm.
And Indian market is like Indians inside India, that market
Mhm.
is like 10 times bigger.
Okay. Indians inside India, but that is not your market, no? You are only catering to NRIs.
Well, we cater to that market, just that we do not go out and approach them. Like they come to
Okay.
us. So
They-
I'm just saying our bigger, like our line share is of NRIs. I mean,
Mhm.
it's not that we say no to them.
Got it.
That market is ours, definitely. So
Got it.
we have not even scratched the surface. I mean, we are way too far away from the point of kind of even making a dent in the market yet.
Mhm. Then, if the market is so big, why would you not? I know you are a conservative entrepreneur, which is good,
Yeah.
but why don't you like raise money and then scale it up into 100 cities or something of that sort?
Well, see, we have to look at the problem in many dimensions.
Hmm.
One is obviously the discovery. Our discovery will take some cost. People have to know about Housewise, and so that's one cost. But then also the problem we are solving is that the laws in India, while they are there, they are difficult to implement. And
Hmm.
therefore, when we find the tenant, Ravi, we have to find tenants very carefully. Only the floating population, only the people who come into the city, they work, they go, right?
Hmm.
And those cities, and that's why we have zeroed in only those cities right now.
Which kind of cities? The cities that attract outside workers. Is that how it is? Tenants. Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. The outside talent which come into the city, floating
Okay.
population, they
Okay.
come, they go, they
Got it.
work in reputed companies, so they have a fear of reputation. I mean, they have to maintain the tenants have to maintain their reputation.
I see.
So that is those are target tenants, and therefore scaling into 100 cities, like yeah, immediately probably will not happen
What,
because of
what,
the
what
dynamics
What do
that
you
we
mean
have.
by they have to maintain reputation? Is this like are they being rated just like Uber drivers are rated, both the drivers and and the customers? Is there a like what do you mean by is there a record of their behavior or because in Europe there
Yeah,
are some players who are
yeah,
offering your credit worthiness with the way you have paid your rent over the years. Okay, so if you have been
yeah,
able to pay your rent on time for the last 2 years, then
yeah,
that data is shared by the property managers
yeah,
to the government organizations, the financial organizations, so that they
yeah,
have high credit worthiness.
yeah. No, I think you're making great point.
Mm,
In fact, that is a data that is very important, and that is a data that should be captured. But unfortunately, in India, that's not there.
mm,
In fact, the rating of the tenant is something that at some point maybe we will do. So like we are kind of fixing the supply chain of property management one step at a time. Today we are
mm.
not doing it. We
Right,
are not rating the tenants because the data is small,
right.
but at some point we will have to do. But today what we do is, when I say reputation, what I mean is that if somebody is working in a in a, let's say, technology company like Infosys, Wipro, TCS,
Right.
their primary goal is to do a good job. I mean, in their company, they do work there, and they do not want, in general, I'm saying they don't want to come home and create nuisance and get a bad name with the owner or the
Yeah,
society or anything.
you're right.
In general,
Okay. What reminds me
yeah,
is the Wells Fargo guy who pissed on a woman in the flight, and his
yeah,
reputation is all over, and he lost his job. So you're talking something
yeah.
like that you do not want to be.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
exactly my point. Yeah,
Got it. Okay. And there are some regulations that have come, like Model Tenancy Act and stuff like that, right?
yeah.
Could you are you aware of that? And could you let us know what is the act about and how it is helping this entire environment?
By the way, that Model Tenancy Act, that is still a like a draft
Mm,
that the government has put forth,
mm,
and they have invited views on that.
mm.
It has not been like implemented by state. Like every state has to implement.
Got it.
But what that says in general is, I mean, at a very broad level, Ravi,
Mm,
what it says is that the house owners as well as tenants have
mm,
certain responsibilities, have some obligations, and they have to fulfill their own, and they're standardizing those obligations.
mm,
So, from my perspective, I think that's a good start.
mm.
But there is there that I mean we have to see the implementation. It all boils down to how it is implemented, because they are talking about separate tenancy courts in every district.
Tenancy courts, civil courts.
Yeah. Civil
Ah,
courts, because see the whole problem lies
mm,
around the fact that while the laws are there in India, how can you implement? I mean, can you evict a tenant quickly, easily,
mm,
if he fails to pay rent?
mm.
So because practically it doesn't work. I mean, the codes are clogged, and it takes time, and the laws are like sympathetic towards tenant.
Got it.
They're talking about like separate civil code. So we have to see how it gets implemented, Ravi. Really,
Got it. Okay.
but it's a good
Um,
start, I think, from what I've read.
got it. Let's talk about the future of this industry. Where did you see it evolving? So you
Yeah,
started with credit card. I'm sure as an entrepreneur you have a couple of ideas in your mind that we could do this, that. You're always brimming with ideas. And
yeah,
then there is reality on what is possible and what is not, and then there's
yeah,
competition who might be doing something better. Where do you see
correct.
the future evolving in the next 3 to 5 years?
Look, see, we from my perspective, I think we are going to kind of broaden our offering
Hmm.
over time. We are continuously doing that, and like you rightly said, always we try to offer more. Some ideas succeed, some ideas fail. But our main core product, I mean, that we will not dilute, that we will continue to expand,
Hmm.
which is end-to-end property management. But new products will keep coming, and we will keep kind of maturing in terms of fixing the supply chain, like we were just discussing, that the tenants have to be rated. See, it is
Hmm.
very easy. If you see, if you don't like service of a company, Ravi, you can very easily go to social media and say anything.
Hmm.
But if, like in this case, like the flyer that you talked about, there is
Hmm.
no way to kind of go and give a rating to them, and so
Hmm.
that's also a problem that at some point we will have to solve. So
But
those are,
you can only solve for your tenants, only the tenants who have lived with you. You can. Is there
yeah.
can there be a national database of all tenants where?
Things evolve. See, things evolve at some point. We can, if we have a large enough scale, once we have,
Hmm.
we could do that for the whole of India. so
Hmm.
so so look at it the other way. If somebody is in that database
Hmm.
and has a good reputation, then he
Hmm.
will always say, okay, look, I'm there, why don't you check me out? So that way, I think it will be
and
a
and a lot
progression.
can happen, right? Because then if you have as a tenant, if you have a good credit not credit rating, reputation rating, then you can
Yeah,
also negotiate good terms on rentals, because it makes it easy for you. So you can give
yeah,
him a discount on the rentals, because it
yeah.
makes things easy, because you don't have to worry about he going rogue in a few months or something of that sort. So a lot of,
Absolutely, yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
Excellent. So one of the things that a friend was sharing with me about US is, in the US the tenant pays to the property manager, and the property manager pays to the landlord in
Yeah,
after 2 weeks. So he holds money rental for 2 weeks.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
and he does that in scale. So say if he's managing 1,000 properties, so
yeah.
he has cash for 15 days of 1,000 properties, which eventually is a big cash pool.
Correct.
Is there anything that you could do with that cash for 15 days that is with you, legally, um, and generate other than interest? Could you do you do, have you obviously, since you don't hold cash, but I'm just asking you, okay, are there any business possibilities with that kind of a cash if you are taking money as an intermediate?
See, people do a lot of things. I mean, people hold the money for various, I mean, property management as well as other businesses, and then
Hmm.
they utilize that money as a float.
As a float, what does float mean?
So means that, suppose, so out of the example that you gave, out of those 1,000 properties, say 10 properties I'm getting the rent today,
Hmm.
10 properties tomorrow, 10 properties day after. So ultimately for the whole 30 days I have like a
Cash.
lot of cash with
Yes.
me,
Yes.
and I could just put it in like fixed deposit or
Hmm.
lend it to somebody.
Right.
So can make a business out of it.
Right.
But really, from our perspective, we want to kind of give it to the owner like
Keep it
directly
cheap.
as possible. Yeah,
But
immediately.
help me understand. What if the tenant is unable to pay? I know you are doing all due diligence that he is
Yeah,
able to pay. But if he
yeah,
does not pay on time, say if the contract says by fifth you have to pay, and if he does not pay, uh,
yeah.
how do you ensure that he pays? Because that is your promise to your homeowner homeowner. No,
Correct,
what do
correct.
you
No,
do? What?
absolutely. Good question, Ravi. I think you have done a lot of homework
Yes.
before this podcast.
Do you follow up with them? Like, is that part of
Yeah.
your work? Okay.
It is part of our work.
Hmm.
So see, so what happens is we tell the owners that, look, we do not have access to your bank accounts,
Hmm.
and we want the money to go from the tenant to the owner directly.
Right.
So if you don't get the rent by fifth, you inform us, and we will follow up. Then it's our job to
Hmm.
follow up for the rent.
Right.
So that is how it is today. But in
Hmm.
future, the way it is going to evolve is that we are implementing a tech solution to solve this problem,
Hmm.
wherein, if while the rent will go directly from the owner to the tenant, but we will facilitate the payment in
Hmm.
such a manner that we don't hold it, but
Hmm.
we will come to know if the rent has been paid.
Okay.
So if the rent will not be paid on time, our
Hmm.
system will send an alert to the owner, to the tenant, and to us.
Okay. Okay. That is
So that
cool.
will make it easier. Yeah. So we are, in that sense, we are going to continue to expand our offering like deeper.
That is very very smart. So even though they are paying, it's not like you are out of the loop. You know if the payment has
Yes.
been made or not. That is
Exactly, exactly. And also, our system knows that this house owner
mm,
must, as per the contract,
mm,
he has to receive the rent by 5th of every month, or 10th of every month, or 25th of
mm.
every month, because
Got it.
every contract will be different.
Got it. Got it. Cool. I'm also being aware, sensitive of your time. It's pretty late back in India. I will just end with this last question. Um, if somebody is already good or has a good hold in residential property management, is this
Yeah.
very different from commercial property management?
Yes, yes, to a large extent. While we do both, actually.
Oh, you do
Uh,
both?
yeah, we do both,
Nice.
residential and commercial.
Okay. How is commercial different from residential? How is the dynamics different?
Well, see, what happens is, see, one is the kind of checks that we do in residential are different background
Mm,
checks.
mm,
Because in residential, like I said, there is this fear of reputation.
mm,
But in the commercial, you may have to find tenants who may not have the best of education. They have not worked. So those checks are different that we have to do then.
okay. Mhm.
And then the other thing is the terms of the lease are different and things like that. So that's
Mhm.
a completely different ball game, really.
Got it. Excellent. Well, this brings us to the end of a very, very thoughtful conversation. I got to learn a lot about property management. In fact, there is so much little content available on YouTube about property management in India. There is tons of content about property management in the US, but that you cannot apply that context in India.
Yeah.
And I was wondering why people are not sharing more and more content on property management. But I can guarantee that once this video is out, this is going to be on top of all property management content, because this was like a property management masterclass 101, because we got into so many layers and so many details. And Prayank, being one of the early leaders into this space, shared a ton of knowledge. So thank you, Prayank, for your time, and I appreciate your efforts towards this.
Well, thank you, Ravi, for having me. It was such an engaging conversation, and it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks again.